You're one of the few people I talked to who really went all the way through with your education in music, from through graduate work. And I'm not sure how to ask this question, but I'll try. In your writing, how much of it is attributable to your education, and how much of it is inherent in you?
That's an interesting question. I think the biggest thing that school gives you, or gave me, I'll talk about me, the biggest thing that school gave me was an opportunity to focus on my music without the distractions of the other things in life. You know, this concentration of going to classes, and just your mind is always in that period of your life where I think it's really, those are really big years, you know, when you're from 18 to maybe 24, 25, you can really absorb a lot of information, and I think the biggest thing was just the concentration of thinking about music all the time, because I was in school, and being around other musicians and having ensembles available to write for. I think that was the most important part of it. I think that the most important teachers I had were teachers that guided but didn't tell me what to do. And you know, as far as jazz composition goes, when I did my undergrad at the University of Minnesota, there was no jazz program at that school. I also didn't have a jazz high school band or anything like that. I grew up a matter of fact, I'm from Minnesota, a very small town, and there was only one person in Windham that really knew anything about jazz, but she was an extraordinary stride player. This is kind of going off your question, but it kind of leads up, because my education really started with her. And as I was learning classical pieces, she taught me how to play in this old stride style. So we were learning standards, and I would come up with my own piano arrangements of them, basically with a little bit of improvisation. And I learned to play out of a fake book. The thing is, she didn't tell me anything about the development of jazz. So by the time, and there was no record store. The only records I had were old Ellington records from the 30s, Teddy Wilson, Artie Shaw. I didn't have any modern jazz records. So, and public TV and public radio wasn't so big back then. I had a lot of classical music, but I was really, I always felt sad, because I felt that I grew up in the wrong era, that if I had grown up when Mrs. Butler did, because she had come from Chicago, and she only moved to Windham because her son and her husband had both died within a month of each other. Her only family left was in Windham, so that's the only reason there was this genius personality in Windham. But I thought that jazz had died, and I felt really sad that I grew up in the wrong era, because I wanted to be part of that.